frick. Hey Fairies! Today I'm going to do a video about a conspiracy theory I have about Majora's Mask. I know a lot of people have a theory that Link is dead. And I think that is a really cool theory. It's a theory about Link going through different stages of grief to accept death. I'm going to link that video in the description below so you can check out what I'm talking about. But my theory is a little bit different. I've already written an article about it on my WordPress blog, which is already linked in the description below. I haven't written in it in a while, and I really do miss writing theories, but I've been so busy lately that it's really hard to come up with some. And then I just don't have a lot of time to write anything else that I want to. Plus, I haven't gotten Breath of the Wild yet, so I have no new material to write about. That stinks. But I think that this video will be fun to do. So, I call this theory the Guru Paradox. This theory begins when Link is learning the Song of Storms underneath the Ikana graveyard. You discover Flat Shrine, and when you go to read it and you learn the song, it says you remembered the Song of Storms. And all I could think was, remembered? So that means he's definitely learned it before. So it's very similar to how he already knows the Song of Time. And then all I could think of was the weirdness that came with learning the Song of Storms the first time with Guru. It was very confusing because you had to go into the future and he's like, hey, this kid messed up my windmill because of this song. You learn it from him by him teaching it to you. And then you go in the past and you play it for him. And I always thought that that was very confusing. So the more I thought about it, the more I just thought, I don't think that Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time are necessarily linear. I actually think Majora's Mask happens when Link is in the Sacred Realm sleeping for 7 years. So my theory started off with me wanting to do like disclaimers about Navi. And Navi the fairy, Link wasn't supposed to have her. He wasn't Kokiri, so he was not assigned to her from birth, or however the Kokiri stumble upon their fairies. And so the story of Majora's Mask, it starts off with him trying to find something. But I don't think that he was really trying to find Navi at all, but his true fairy, if he were Kokiri. Something else that upholds this theory is that Epona, when you ride her in Majora's Mask, you no longer need the saddle. And I know that in Ocarina of Time, you do need the saddle to be able to ride her. You can't as a child. So I believe that Link is able to ride her, but doesn't know necessarily about the saddles yet because she's still young. He hasn't learned that. Next were the items. And I noticed that Link's shield does not look the same as his shield in Ocarina of Time. There are very different designs on each one, but they're similar in the way that they are shaped and colored. And all I could think of is how in dreams, when you look at a design, you remember it, but it doesn't look quite the same, or you look back down and it changes every time. He's able to carry it like a regular shield because there's no sense of weight in dreams. You can just pick up whatever you want and move however you want, even though as a child in the other game, was too big for his back. I feel like that's what was going on with the Hylian shield. And his sword, it was a very basic sword. It was a Kokiri sword, just like the one he had in the beginning of the journey. The other items that he has not yet encountered, like the Lens of Truth, the Mirror Shield, the Hook Shot, Fire, Ice, Light Arrows, through Majora's Mask, I feel like he needed to learn how to use those items to then use it in Ocarina of Time against Ganon. It was a sort of test, if that makes sense. Then the 3-day cycle. It goes on over and over and over again. It's not until he completes these days that he's able to become an adult. With each passing day, each passing sequence, he learns a lot more, and he becomes more wise and can think cleverly along his journey. And that was really good for needing to fight Ganondorf. And then the whole thing with repeating characters. That was one of my favorite things about Majora's Mask, that Anju was still Anju. I feel like those overlapping characters, you always hear when people talk about dreams that you don't create your own faces. The faces of the people in your dreams are people that you have seen in your life passing by. And then it goes right back to Guru. You learned it from him. So meaning Link, as a child, heard the song, but didn't really know it. Went into the dream sequence, Majora's Mask, and remembered the song that Guru was talking about, so he could officially learn it then. And then, when he goes back to be an adult, he really learns the song, and he's able to bring it back as a child. Does that make sense? It's very confusing. I may have explained that a lot better in my WordPress blog, actually, so I'm sorry if this doesn't seem too clear, but you can check that out if you want some further clarification. And if anything, you can always ask questions and I'd be happy to answer them. But I feel like it makes a lot of sense for such a weird occurrence. I think Majora's Mask is a really weird universe, and it's hard to believe that it's not interconnected in some way and not just linear. I'd love to hear your thoughts about all of this. I know what I said could be very confusing and potentially controversial depending on how you feel about the game. I know that it is my favorite game, so I'd love to talk about it. I would love to hear your theories as well in the comments below, and if you want to fight me on this, go ahead, put them dukes up. I'd love to fight with you. No, don't fight me. Please don't. Please be nice in the comments. I appreciate that. I guess that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to become a fairy today. I'd love to be your great fairy. Awkward. Thanks so much. See you later, fairies. Bye.